Okay, so we're in our second class on getting ready for Rosh Hashanah, and I would like to start off with this idea and then review a few halachot that are connected to it. There was a man who went for a medical procedure. He had a surgery done. It was maybe a couple of days before Yom Kippur, and so the doctor told him, and was a religious doctor, and the religious doctor told him that he cannot fast Yom Kippur. No matter what happens, he's not allowed to fast Yom Kippur. So this man, he's in his 50s, he's 60s, he's been fasting for a very long time every year. And now he doesn't feel like it's going to be Yom Kippur if he doesn't fast. So he decides to go to the Hazon Ish. And he goes to the Hazon Ish and he asks the Hazon Ish, he says, "Can I fast? I feel that I can do it, but my doctor says I can't." And the Hazon Ish told him that he's not allowed to fast whatsoever. It's completely forbidden for him to fast. But he says to him, "How can I eat on Yom Kippur, the holiest day of the year? How can I eat?" So the Hazon Ish told this man a fascinating idea. He told him as follows. He said, "In an army, every soldier has a position and a specific job. Some fight on the front lines, well, some others prepare the food, some of them fly planes, some people are in charge of preparing the weaponry. Some are in the Navy, some are in undercover operations. Everybody's in a different position in the army. The common thread between all these different parts in the military is that they're all working together for the commander in chief. Said the Hazon Ish, same is when we serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Yes, there's a Yom Kippur, and yes, most people have to fast, but everybody has their service of the day. And this year, he tells the man, you are an officer in Hashem's army, and Hashem's command to you is for this year to fast on Yom Kippur. Why is this idea so fascinating? I mean, first of all, it gives us a perspective of how we're all individual members of Hashem's army and how our services can be so different. Sometimes, we have, I have some women, they reach out and they say, Rabbi, it's coming Rosh Hashanah. When I was younger, I used to be able to go to shul. I used to be able to hear the prayers. I used to be able to do all these things. I hear the shofar, and I felt the Rosh Hashanah. And this year, in the past couple of years, I have little kids. It's hard. It's not that easy to go there, and I'm home, and I'm home, and I'm preparing in the house, and I'm doing the house chores, and it doesn't feel Rosh Hashanah. Maybe it feels like Shabbat, maybe it feels like a regular day, but it definitely doesn't feel like Rosh Hashanah. It doesn't feel like Yom Kippur. What are we supposed to be thinking? How are we supposed to? The answer is that we all have a responsibility, and we all have a service in serving a Kadosh Baruch Hu. It turns out that some people's service is in taking care of the children and taking care of the house, and that is the service that they're supposed to be doing. Like the Baal Shem Tov was famous to say, you're not just supposed to serve Hashem. You're supposed to serve Hashem in the situation that you find yourself. Meaning, some people say, today I woke up with a headache, or today I don't feel that good. I can't daven. I can't learn Torah. I just can't do it. Right? There's an excuse to get off the hook. Said the Baal Shem Tov, no, the opposite. Today I have a headache. Today something's not right. How do I serve Hashem today with these limitations that are on me? With these constraints that I have to deal with. How do I serve Hashem with that? And that is the ideal. Is that when we come into Rosh Hashanah, we have to think, what's our service for Hashem on Rosh Hashanah? For some people, and for most of us, it's going to shul, but not everyone. Sometimes there's mothers and grandmothers or older sisters that have to take care of the children. And that in itself is the service of Rosh Hashanah for them. In fact, Very interestingly, I saw this year from the Rosh Yeshiva of Chaim Berlin, Rav Yitzchak Hutner, the author of the Pachad Yitzchak. He points out that in many languages, the word mother has the letter mem in there, as the mem sound. He says, for example, think mama, ima, mutter, madre, all of them have the letter M. Many languages, there's a letter mem or an M there. He says in Hebrew, the letter mem is the middle letter of the Hebrew alphabet. It's the letter that all letters, so to speak, lean on. It's the middle letter. It's everybody leans on that letter. Is a support beam of the Aleph Bet. Says Rav Yitzchak Hutner, that is a mother. She's a person whom many rely on, and she's afforded a special protection and merits on the day of judgment. The mother's biggest, according to Yitzchak Hutner, the mother's biggest protection is being a mother in Klal Yisrael, being a Jewish mother all year, especially Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur. Rav Yisrael Salanter was famous to say that one person's gashmiut, his physicality, is another person's ruchniut. Meaning, if you know somebody needs a good meal, so he needs a physical meal, if you give it to them, you've done a spiritual act. The Yisrael Salanter viewed the mother's role as physical acts to their children, to the spouse, and to their parents, that as being spiritual tasks that offered them many, many protections. And we'll end off with this idea with the saying from the Hafetz Chaim. The Hafetz Chaim would say, a mother is like the sun. The sun, one of Hashem's greatest creations, right? No one can even look up at the sun. It's impossible. You burn your eyes out. What? The sun has three things that it does. It gives off light. It provides warmth. And it makes things grow. And that's a mother. The mother is like the sun. The sun that provides everything in this world for us. That Hashem gave us this sun for us. That is what a mother is, says the Hafetz Chaim. And what a spiritual task she has in her physical tasks all become spiritual. So on this note, I want to review a few halachot that is regarding women and Rosh Hashanah. So the first thing is first. We know that one of the biggest mitzvot of the day, the Torah calls Rosh Hashanah Yom Teruah, the day of blowing the shofar. And everybody is obligated to hear the shofar, says the halacha. That includes the Kohanim, the Leviim, Israelim, and the Gerim. Every Jew is required. However, women and children are patur. They are exempt from hearing the shofar. And what would be the reason? Why are women exempt from hearing the shofar? So we have in halacha a general principle that anything that's a time-bound mitzvah, a woman is exempt from that mitzvah. And the reason for that is because her time as a mother has constraints, right? Her time is given to the house, it's given to the husband, it's given to the children. So therefore she is patur from mitzvot that are time-bound. And one of them is blowing the shofar. Shofar is a mitzvah that's only applicable on Rosh Hashanah, only applicable in the daytime hours. So it's known as a mitzvah shezman gramo. And a woman is exempt from this mitzvah. Now, even though she's exempt from this mitzvah, says the Halachas Svarim, and we're looking in the Yalkut Yosef, and he says, Mikol Mokom hanohages levola beit hakneset b'Shoshana kidei l'shmo kol shofar yafa. Those ladies who come to the shul to hear shofar, they're doing beautifully, and they have schar in their mitzvah. It's very important to hear shofar, and the ladies who come and hear them, they're going to get schar. But you should know that they're not going to get as much reward as the man, says the halacha here, because we have another general principle that someone who's commanded to do the mitzvah and does the mitzvah will get a greater reward than someone who wasn't commanded and does the same mitzvah. However, there is a parentheses over here in the Yalkut Yosef, and it's something very important, not just for this halacha, but a general way of thinking as Jewish people. He says over here that if a woman would come to shul and she needs to drag along her little children because she doesn't know when to watch them, and the little children now come to shul, and while they're there, well, what do they end up doing? They're making a balagan, make bardak. Everything's going all over the place. They're running around. They're making noises. Then what happens? People cannot hear the shofar. So she thinks she came to the shul to hear the shofar. Meanwhile, she made everybody else not hear the shofar. Says the halachic svarim over here that she will lose far more merit than she would gain. And so therefore, if a woman has little children and there's no one to watch them, she should not bring them to the shul. Shul is not a, unless they have a kids program, it's not really a babysitting service. And it can become very, hard for people to pay attention when the kids are there. And a woman has to keep that in mind. Now, how does this apply all year long? Is because sometimes you think you're about to do a mitzvah, and you think, I'm going to do the mitzvah, I'm going to get it right. And meanwhile, really, your mitzvah is actually an aveira, right? The Ramchal, from Moshe Chaim Lotzato, Mesilas Yesharim, and Perik Chav, in chapter 20, deals with this. It's called Mishkala Chasidut, weighing the options, weighing a good deed. Is my good deed really a good deed? Or do I just think it's a good deed and it's going to make me feel good, but it may not actually be a good deed? The person always needs to weigh what he's doing, to realize what she's doing, and to see if it's actually a mitzvah or it's something I just want to do to make me feel better. Another important halacha for the women who come to shul. Here in the Yalkut Joseph, he continues, and he talks about it over here by blowing shofar, and he also talks about it by tashlit. So we'll talk about it at both ways. He says over here, the women come, they come to shul, and they want to hear shofar. And what happens is, afterwards, I'm not talking about necessarily our shul, but other shuls, possibly also, and they congregate outside after the tefillah. And sometimes the women who are coming to the synagogue may not be dressed appropriately for shul, and they may cause to be a stumbling block for people who may see them not dressed appropriately. And on Rosh Hashana, from old days, that's not a day a person wants to do that or fall into such a thing. So he writes over here, if they're going to come, it's better that they come. Good, they came, they listened, they heard, but they shouldn't congregate outside. They should quickly go out of view. They don't need to stand around and talk to everybody that comes out. And they can have a social hour for that. Baruch Hashem, in some shuls they have Tehillim gathering and stuff like that, for people to come together, and then they'll have their time to talk. He says the same thing by Tashlich. He actually writes that, on the other hand, he says men, they should not go to Tashlich at the water if they know a woman will congregate there, and it might be it might be a problem for some of them for the lack of tzniut, pritzut going on over there. And he says it's better that the men, if that's the case, that they should stay in the shul and do tashlich at the sink rather than going to the water. Remember, we have to weigh our options. We're trying to do the mitzvah of tashlich. We're trying to do the mitzvah of shofar. Great, and we should. But what about everything else? You can't just, because I'm doing one mitzvah, I disregard every other mitzvah. You have to weigh them all out. You have to realize what's important and what's not. And so that is an overall view of this, of mitzvah. To end with one more idea on the woman and shofar, and this is really another distinction between Sfaradim and Ashkenazim when it comes to women and mitzvot that are time-bound. So, we Sephardim hold, according to our poskim, that if a woman wants to fulfill a mitzvah that is time-bound, that she is potter from, she is exempt from doing that mitzvah. She is not to make a bracha on that mitzvah. So, for example, taking a lulav and etrog. The Sephardic lady wants to take a lulav and etrog and wave it around on Sukkot. She could, she should. Why not? It's a great mitzvah. But she's not allowed to make a bracha. Since she's not commanded in doing it, her bracha is it's questionable. It might be a bracha levatala, and therefore she's not to say it. However, the Ashkenazim, they hold the opposite. They say if a woman wants to do the mitzvah, she can also make the bracha. How does this play out on Rosh Hashana? Plays out with the shofar, because women are not obligated in shofar. And the woman, let's say the woman couldn't come to shul, right? She couldn't make it to shul. And now someone's going to blow shofar, either they're making a second blowing in the shul for the woman, or someone is going to her house to blow the shofar. So since she's a Sephardic woman, and if someone is coming to blow a shofar for her at the house, or it's only women in the shul that came to hear the second shofar blowing, then they should not be making a bracha on that shofar blowing. They should blow the shofar, but they'll have to blow it without the bracha. She has no obligation in the mitzvah, therefore there is no bracha associated if it's just blowing the shofar for the woman. I want to end off with one last idea that's related to shofar blowing, and something that is can give us a little push to understand what we're doing with the shofar blowing. Our Leib Chasman, the Tzaddik Lebracha, gives a very cute, very nice mashal that sort of explains what the shofar is supposed to do for us, according to the Rambam. He says there was once a villager, and his whole life he wondered and wondered about the wonders of a big city. So he saved up money, and after a long time, he was able to afford a round trip ticket. And he took a train all the way from his village to the big city. And when he got to the city, he was amazed. Paved sidewalks, really wide, really big, tall buildings, lights everywhere. He was amazed. He was walking around in full amazement. Everywhere he was going, he was taking in the sights, taking in the sounds, cars and stuff. It was an unbelievable sight for him. And he's walking around and he says, look, I only have a day or two here, and I want to take something back with me. I want a souvenir. So he sees a whole line of shops. He walks into one of them. And the salesperson says to him, yeah, well, how can we help you? He says, look, I'm from the village. I want to take something back with me, something that I can show all my village folk what I have, what I've seen in the big city. So the salesperson told him, I have just the thing for you. For $5, I can sell you a pocket flashlight. Flashlight, what's a flashlight? Show him the flashlight. He's amazed by it. Light goes on, light goes off. He says, yes, for sure, everyone would believe the amazing sights and sounds and stuff that I saw here in the big city. And he buys the flashlight. And he has a couple more hours until his round trip ticket back. He has to go back on the train. And so he sees a line of people waiting outside a building. So he asks them, what is everyone waiting here for? They said, oh, there's a film being played inside this theater. What's a film? They said, oh, you're going to love it. Sounds and pictures. Really? He says, yeah. How much does it cost? I said, $5. He said, okay, I still have $5. He goes online. He pays for the ticket. He gets inside. And he sits in his seat, and it's dark. The whole theater is dark. Wondering, why is everyone sitting in the dark? Nope. Then comes on the projector, and the film starts to play. So everyone's sitting in the dark. He's wondering, why is everyone sitting in the dark? Why don't I turn on some light? If this is the way the movie looks right now, how much better the film will look. You turn on the lights. And so he says, you know what? I have my flashlight. He takes out his flashlight and starts shining it on the screen. And everybody in the theater starts screaming, hey, who's doing that? Knock it off. Says, why would I turn it off? I can't see. I want to see better. I'm turning it on. And he said, no, 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 no. In this theater, you only see if it's dark. Says Rav Lev Chasman. He says, life for many, many people is really a film that they're watching. There's delusions and stuff that we want to believe and stuff we want to think that we're okay with. And what we end up doing is we shut the lights and we have the Yetzer Hara showing us a facade, a mirage of what we think our life is. And Rosh Hashanah says the Rambam that the shofar, yes, Hashem said to blow the shofar, and that's why we're blowing in Rosh Hashanah. That's the reason we're blowing, because Hashem said to. But there's a remez there's an illusion. It's supposed to wake us up. It's like an alarm clock. It's supposed to wake us up from our slumber, realize, hey, we've been walking in the dark the whole year. It comes Rosh Hashanah. It's time for us to wake up, to realize, to walk into the light, to open the light, take away the film of the Yetzer Hara, and be able to see life for what life really is. And this is a great insight for everyone who's preparing for Rosh Hashanah, to realize that yes, the year has gone by, and throughout the year we've lived in a life of coming and going and busy and this and that and that and this. But what is the essentials? Why am I here on earth? What am I doing? Is it really all about eating and using the phone, going to work and coming back from work? What's the real? That's what we're supposed to do in Rosh Hashanah when we hear the shofar. And if the woman can't come to shul and she can't hear the shofar, then she has to realize what she's doing on this earth. And that goes back to our beginning lesson. She's being the sun. She's turning on the light. She is the light. And she's turning on the light for her husband and for her children and for her parents and everyone else who relies on her, as she's the center of everyone's world, of everyone's life. And she turns on the light and she shows them, as a Jewish mother in Israel, of what it means to serve a Kadosh Baruch Hu, no matter in what situation we are, and how to put the proper perspective on what we're doing, because it all is because of the mother, as it says, "Eim bechukotai telechu." If the mother goes on the path, everyone follows suit. And as is Hashem, we should be able to take these lessons and put them into practice. If anyone has any questions at this time, I will be gladly to take them. Okay, I'm assuming no one has any questions, so at this time I want to wish everybody an Erev Tov, and as Hashem, we should be zeicher to a Shana Tova Umtuka together. Thank you.